everyone, Ally Maki here with an important message on voting. So this year's election is shaping up to be the most important election in history, which is why I'm reaching out to you guys today to urge you to make a plan to vote in person on election day. Here's a couple things you can do to prepare. Number 1, check to see if you're registered to vote. If not, you can register now at www.APIAVote.org/learn. Number 2, decide how and when you are going to your polling location. Number 3, remember to check to see if your state requires you to bring your ID. Number 4, make sure to bring a mask and try to go at off-peak times to avoid those long lines. Number 5, and this is the most important one, know your rights. So if you are not on the voter roster, you can ask for a provisional ballot. You have the right to bring an interpreter. Everyone in line when the poll closes has that right to vote. Remember, it is your right to vote. So please call 1-888-API-VOTE if your right to vote is being threatened or if you simply have any questions. Please join me today and make your plan to vote. And remember to voice your vote. I'll see you at the polls, guys.
Hi everybody, I'm Parvesh Cheena. This election is turning out to be one of the most important elections in our history, which is why I'm urging you to make a plan to vote now.
When? Now. Who? You.
Check to see if you're registered to vote. If not, you can register at www.APIAVote.org/learn. Did I get it right? Great!
Number 2,
Decide how you want to vote. There are 3 options available.
Option number 1, vote by mail. Request your ballot right now. As soon as you receive your election/absentee ballot, fill it out immediately. Please remember that your ballot will be rejected if you don't sign it and follow all the rules and instructions. So remember to take your time and follow all the instructions carefully. Decide if you have enough time to fill it out before the deadline in the instructions. If not, you can drop it off at a local ballot drop box. You can also track your ballot and remember to vote as early as you can.
Option 2, vote early in person. Look up locations and times for early voting centers in your city. Select a location, decide on a date and time, and vote. Remember to check if your state requires you to bring an ID. Bring a mask and try to go at off-peak hours to avoid long lines.
Option 3, vote in person on election day. Decide how and when you are going to go to your polling location. Remember to check if your state requires you to bring an ID, and please bring a mask and, try to go at off-peak times if you can to avoid long lines and crowds. Know your rights. If you are not on the voter roster, ask for a provisional ballot. You have the right to bring an interpreter, and everyone in line when the poll closes has the right to vote. Remember, it is your right to vote, so please call 1-888-API-VOTE if your right to vote is being threatened, or if you simply have any questions. And remember to voice
Your
Vote.
Do you know that Asians are the least likely to vote? True. I was so surprised. And yet, our population in the US, listen to this, can make the difference in who wins. Yes, our vote can make the difference. The Asian vote. People think we should know our place, right? Well, I'll tell you where our place is. It's in the voting booth. If you're not registered, you must. I needed help to get my mail-in ballot, so I asked for help. Please ask for help if you need help. Or vote in person. We are proud to be Asians. We're proud to be Americans. Be proud to vote too. It's your right. It's your duty. I'm Connie Chung. Thank you.
Greetings. I am Reverend Cisa Payuyo. I am an ordained minister with the Christian Church Disciples of Christ, and I serve on a campus university as a chaplain. You know what? I don't think God votes. I don't think God goes into the polling booth and casts a ballot or votes by mail. Yeah, I don't think God votes. I do believe that God stands with the oppressed. God stands with the marginalized. God stands with those who are struggling. God stands with the peacemakers. God stands with those who seek to do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with God and all of God's creations. Now, on the other hand, if Jesus were here, I think Jesus would vote for a leader who is compassionate. I think Jesus would vote for a leader that leads by example. Jesus would vote for a leader who would be against injustice in the world. So yes, maybe Jesus would vote, and you can too. It doesn't matter to me whether you're Muslim or Methodist or Christian or Buddhist or Catholic or pagan or Pentecostal or searching or none of the above. We have a moral obligation to take care of this country and to take care of each other. That is a core belief in Filipino values. It's the word kapwa, and kapwa means we recognize the innate humanity in each other. We recognize that we love our neighbor as we love ourselves because our neighbor is ourself. So when you vote, you're taking care of me. And when I vote, I'm taking care of you. So please vote, because your vote matters so much to me.
Hi, I'm Lauren Zita. I'm a second-generation Filipino-American, and I'm so excited to be voting for my first presidential election. Here in Vegas, we get distracted by many things, like the lights on the strip or the traffic on the spaghetti bowl. That is why many of us are making our plan to vote. Do you have your polling location? Do you know your wait times? Do you need an umbrella? Water? Snacks? You need to have a plan to ensure that your vote gets tallied and counted properly.
Yo, Higa, what's up, man? I haven't seen you in a while.
I'm good, man. How you been?
As your cousin, I wanted to check in and see. This is our most important, in my opinion, our most important election ever. What are your thoughts? What are your plans?
Are you planning to vote?
That's a great question. I haven't always been the most knowledgeable about politics, but this year I definitely am voting. And the way I'm going to do the mail-in. And because I'm in California, actually, the mail-in ballot comes right to me. But for all you guys listening online or watching this, every state is different. So make sure that you understand your state's rules.
I'll be honest, this is going to be the first time I'm voting. And
You too.
I actually did it today. I just dropped it off at one of those local ballot drop boxes. And just make sure you guys read all the instructions, because it's very confusing for people like me that never really voted before. So again, this is one of the most important elections. Make sure you guys read all the instructions very carefully. It's a little confusing, but if you go to APIAVote.org, they make it a lot simpler for you.
You can vote in person early, or you can vote in person on election day. But like Higa said, no matter which option you choose, make sure you choose one of them. But no matter which one you choose, go to APIAVote.org. There's going to be all the instructions and the resources that you could possibly need. And if you go and vote, everybody, please bring a mask.
Visit APIAVote.org for more information on the voting process. Join us and voice your vote.
Hi, I'm James from Georgia, and I'm so excited this year to vote because this year, more than ever, AAPIs have a chance to make a difference and have our voice in this election. Here in Georgia, there's a great excitement for voting early. You can pick any early voting sites in your county that is convenient for you. Check your local Board of Elections for early voting locations and times.
Yo, November 3rd is technically election day, but it's happening right now. Don't procrastinate. This is election season, especially in the Asian community. You know we have 11 million eligible voters this year, and this might be the most important election in all of history. No biggie. So please make your voice count. We're in this together. Find one of these bad boys in your town. You can drop it off. Say goodbye to trust issues, because you'll see it go straight in. And I already put mine in, because some things I like to keep for myself, you know, keep it intimate, have these precious moments. But I just want to encourage you to make a plan and vote early. Do it now, okay? Voice your vote. Let's go.
My name is Touger Xiong. A friend once told me, if you don't have a seat at the table, you're on the menu. As Asian Americans, our voice is our vote.
This year's election is shaping up to be the most important election in history, which is why I am reaching out to you today to urge you to make a plan to vote now.
I'm a first-generation Hmong American who came to this country after spending 4 years in a refugee camp in Thailand after my family had escaped the war in Laos. When we first came here, I remember as a kid being called a chink, a gook, being told to go back to where I came from because I did not look American and I did not belong. In the recent years, that bigotry, racism, and xenophobia has resurfaced. Since March of 2020, there's been 2,600 incidents targeting Asian Americans as hate crimes, as harassment and profiling because of this pandemic.
So please join me today and make your plan to vote, and remember to voice your vote.
Hi, I'm Toon Nguyen from the great state of Texas. Do you know what's on your ballot? Well, great news. There are tons of resources out there that explain all the issues that are just as important as anything else we're voting on. For example, here in Houston, we have congressional, school board, and county elections, and other states have ballot initiatives. This election is incredibly important to me because it will determine the future and society that my baby sister will grow up into. So please, everyone, remember to fill out everything on your ballot. Your voice matters.
Hi, I'm actor Lilan Bowden.
And I'm actor Lauren Tom. We were so proud to represent Asian Americans on television, and now
we're working together to get out the Asian American vote. This year's election is shaping up to be the most important election in history. So that's why we're reaching out to you today to make sure that you're prepared for what's on your ballot.
Besides the presidential election, all the members of the U.S. House of Representatives are also up for election. So in some states, there might be a Senate race or local elections or ballot measures.
So it's important to do a little homework. You can go to APIAVote.org that has lots of resources to help you fill out a sample ballot.
Or you can ask your friends and family to go over your ballot and the candidates with you.
Still don't know who to vote for? That's okay. Remember, you don't have to cast a vote for every single seat, as long as you're voting for whoever and whatever you're comfortable with.
So please join us and make your plan to vote. And remember, hang on, voice your vote. Right, Willie?
Good boy.
How to identify fact versus fiction? This election year is turning out to be one of the most important ones in our history, and yet there are people out there trying to mislead us about voting rights, about deadlines. It's very confusing, but listen, it is up to us to make sure that we protect our voting rights. So, how do we do that? Here's some ideas. Number one, when you see something on social media that doesn't quite add up, that you're not quite sure if that's real or not, maybe don't engage, instead report it. Similarly, for number two, if you want to share an article that you think everyone would like to see, maybe make sure that it's legitimate first. And if you're unsure, just check with your local election office. And number three, Make sure that your friends and family are educated about voting rights and process wherever they are. And then double check to make sure that all of their questions are answered before Election Day. That part's really important. So join me, make your plan to vote, and remember to voice your vote.
I'm Attorney General William Tong of Connecticut. As everyone prepares to vote either by absentee or mail-in ballot, or they go to the polls, this is a really important moment for me and my family. You know, as the son of immigrants, like many children of immigrants, I was the first American in my family. My parents didn't have the opportunity to become citizens and to vote in their first election until a few years after I was born. And so every time we go to the polls, this is a really special time for me and my parents and my grandmother, because people went through so much in my family to come to this country. They worked so hard to get the opportunity to vote. And that's why I encourage everybody watching this video, get out there and vote. Know that your vote is going to be safe and secure. Your votes will count and they will be counted. And I want everybody to make sure that if you need help voting, if you need an interpreter, you should ask for one. If you want to vote by absentee or by mail-in ballot, there's still time to make that happen. Make sure you remember to bring ID, because in many states, you need to bring identification in order to vote. Just follow the rules. Make sure that you're eligible to vote. If you haven't registered, there's still time to do that. And make a plan to vote. Make sure that if you're voting by absentee or mail-in, you do that. Or if you're voting in person, that you get there early in the day at a time that's convenient for you, but you don't wait till it's too late in the evening. So again, this is an incredible moment for our country. It's a real opportunity for us to choose the direction of our country. It's an opportunity that my parents fought so hard for, and I know that many of you fought hard for. Now let's get out there and do it. Thank you.
With every election, it's vital your voice is heard. What better way to do this than to vote? I'm Utah Attorney General Sean Reyes, and from a young age, my father and mother taught me the importance of voting. My father, an immigrant from the Philippines, took great pride in his United States citizenship. He knew his opinions mattered. He came to this country knowing he would one day be able to participate in a republic that he was not able to do freely in the Philippines. He never took his vote for granted. My Hawaiian Japanese mother, who was a teacher in Los Angeles, knew that to affect change, you had to be in the discussion. You couldn't idly sit back and wait for change to come to you. Voting was her way to make sure she was part of the dialogue and in some way that her voice could affect change. So please get out and vote and know your voting rights. It's important to know that many states require an ID to vote, especially if it's your first time and you registered by mail. So please, please check your state requirements before going to the polls. And if you're not on the voter roster, ask for a provisional ballot. You have the absolute right to bring an interpreter. Remember, it's your right to vote, so please call 1-888-API-VOTE if your right to vote's being threatened or if you simply have any questions. Please join me today and voice your vote.
So my grandma was the first person in my family who could vote in this country. And I remember when I was little, she took me with her to the polls. She actually took me into the voting booth with her and made me watch her fill out an entire ballot, which was really boring and really claustrophobic, but she wanted to teach me a lesson. She understood that participating in elections is one of our key freedoms. When you vote, you get to use your voice. And the more of us who vote, the more we have a say on the unique issues that affect our AAPI communities.
And also because I honor my parents and my family and their story. My parents came here over 40 years ago with nothing but $8 in their pocket. and they left everything they knew and sacrificed so much to give and provide for their family.
Like my friends Danny Pudi and Sonal Shah, I am an Indian American child of immigrants who is from the suburbs of Chicago. As an Asian American, I'm urging everyone in my community to vote. We count, we matter. There are a lot of us, and we are a rising population. We've been here. We might as well be counted. I want everyone in the Asian American community to vote, so none of you aunties can complain to me about why things are a certain way. Well, Auntie G, did you vote? No. Well, if you don't vote, you can't complain.
I'm Claudia from Phoenix, Arizona. As a Pacific Islander who is a U.S. naturalized citizen, I've learned about the importance of civic participation through my work around census, as a poll worker, and through my work on school bonds. I'm passing this lesson to those close to me and getting them to vote this year. One of the great things about this country is being able to create these new traditions with our friends and families. Why should voting be any different?
Hey Hudson, why'd you call the Zoom meeting?
Sorry guys, I just can't figure out these numbers and I need some help.
Do your own homework, doofus.
No, it's not homework. This time, here's the issue. There are 11 million Asian Americans who are eligible to vote this year.
Whoa, that's up 140% over the past 2 decades.
I mean, it makes sense. We're the fastest growing population in America.
Yeah, but in 2016, only half of all eligible Asian Americans actually voted. What's up with that?
Whoa, 50%? That's an F.
According to my mom, 90% is an F.
I didn't mean an Asian F.
Well, I'd vote if I was old enough. So would I.
I mean, me too. Like, I'm 16, I can drive. Shouldn't I also be able to vote?
Braggity brag brag brag.
Definitely a flex, Hudson.
The fact is, none of us can vote, which means that our parents and all of you out there who can't vote are basically voting for us.
Which means our future is in your hands.
It's not just voting for president.
Yeah, this year you kinda gotta vote for president.
It's also about the Senate, the House, local candidates, voter initiatives.
About the economy, about healthcare.
Education and racial equity.
Gun control and the environment.
It's about democracy.
This could be the most important election in American history.
This is your chance to make a difference.
And oh God, please vote for president.
And it's even a good way for you to share with us kids what it means to be a citizen. Explain what voting means and why it's important. Make a brand new family tradition.
If you're looking for more information about how and where to go to vote, go to APIAVote.org.
You'll find all the info you need to make an informed choice this election. Vote early, vote safely, and if you're voting in person,
wear
a mask.
Dang it, I messed it up.
So close.
Voice or vote.
Make a plan.
Vote early, vote safely, and if you're voting in person,
wear
a mask.
Yes.
Truly, it's like for the longest time, voting was the only thing that Asians underachieved in. You know what I mean? So let's get the numbers up, honey. Because 49% in the 2016 election, that's an F. Okay, that is unacceptable. Unacceptable. What about you, Kelly? What's your plan?
I already voted. I sent mine in at the Los Feliz Library, dropped it off in the little mailbox.
Well, what a yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like what was really cool about this year especially is because a lot of my friends and I are just more aware of everything in terms of investigating every single prop and trying to figure out how they're trying to confuse us. I think something that has been really cool about voting this year particularly was that I had so many conversations about different things with friends. It was such a communal experience. And I think that's one way to sort of make it you feel like you're part of something bigger than yourself because you are. And it's hard to feel that when you're like by yourself, like looking this up on the internet by yourself. But when you discuss it with your friends and you discuss it with people in your community who are also being greatly affected by these things, there's just something really special about that feeling of being an active participant and in something bigger than you.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful because we're looking at the big picture right now, and all of these issues, they collectively affect us and they will affect the future of our children, and that's why it's so necessary for us to have these conversations, one. And two, just, don't be afraid to ask questions. There's so many voter guides on all the props and the measures and, information about the candidates everywhere. Like, you have no excuse to not vote.
A vote is a voice.
A voice is power. A voice not spoken cannot be heard.
A voice not heard soon goes silent.
I have a voice. You have a voice.
Together, we are loud. And if you stand for anything,
raise your voice.
Power not used is power lost.
Power not shared
is not democracy.
I have power. You have power.
What matters to you
must matter to them.
Claim your power.
A vote not counted
cannot make change. A vote suppressed is a voice silent.
I have a vote. You have a vote.
Let's have them counted. For America to share your values, use your vote.
Your voice.
Your power.
Your vote.
On behalf of Asian and Pacific Islander American Vote, thank you for joining our election celebration. We hope we were able to inspire and re-energize you as we enter the last 7 days of this election cycle. This year, we have seen great enthusiasm to ensure that our voice is heard through the power of our vote. By casting your ballot, we are ensuring that you are being represented and that the Asian American and Pacific Islander community is seen and heard. According to Catalyst, we have already seen 1.8 million Asian American Pacific Islander voters cast their ballots this year. That's compared to 1.3 in 2016. In addition, among 18 to 29-year-olds, they have increased their early vote participation in our community by 400%. Special thanks to all the staff and volunteers out there who have been mobilizing since early this year for the 2020 census and this election cycle. We also like to thank all the talent and leaders who lend their voices to these important messages. And thank you to our national partners and supporters who helped us bring this content to life. Please share this evening with others and use this as a tool to engage them in conversations about the upcoming elections. With this energy, we thank you for doing your part and taking action to make sure your family, friends, and networks are ready to voice their vote today.